First, it was Douglas County teachers leaving the classroom. Now it's students.
What they did was unfair.
They're upset with the new school board's decision to fire the superintendent. We're hearing from both sides.
We voted for the change and we want to protect our children.
Plus, a program is helping homeless teenagers get off the streets. Now it's expanding to offer more than just a safe place to stay.
We're helping people build relationships and community.
And the U.S. is sending a warning about a war between Russia and Ukraine.
Any day now, Russia could take military action against Ukraine.
The steps world leaders, including President Joe Biden, are taking to de-escalate the situation. We knew that hundreds of teachers in Douglas County were unhappy with the school board. Now students are taking a stand. Thanks for joining us for Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Jason Grenauer. Students are upset because the board fired Superintendent Corey Wise and the circumstances surrounding that firing. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is live in Highlands Ranch, where a walkout will happen this afternoon.
Yeah, students are expected to walk out from Crest Hill Middle School just after 1 today. The district is divided over the firing of former Superintendent Corey Wise. Some are saying that, the newly elected board members have done what is right, while others are disagreeing. He's been with the district for more than 2 decades, but only in that position in superintendent for around 1 year. The school board has 4 newly elected members who hold a conservative majority. After the other members claim the new ones were trying to secretly force out Wise on Friday, in a rare school board meeting, the group split along party lines, voted to fire the now former superintendent. Many in the district are frustrated with the decision, saying Wise clearly cares about students and teachers. We talked with students as they're being dropped off this morning, and many tell us they will be walking out in support of Wise.
What they did was wrong, really, extremely wrong. And even as kids, we understand that it's wrong, and I feel like the adults should understand that it's wrong, and yet they still went through with it.
But we've also talked with parents who support the newly elected board members' decision to fire Wise. There's even an online petition going around right now showing their support for that decision.
We won, and we won fair and square, and the majority members that were placed in did exactly what they ran on.
More than 50 former and current school board directors have written a letter in support of Wise. Those 50 are spanning the entire state of Colorado. Their biggest concern is the way his firing was handled. The district is looking for a new permanent replacement for Wise's position. We'll be following up on this walkout, and we'll have more tonight at 4. Live in Highlands Ranch, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Thank you so much, Colette. The teachers union also responding to this issue, the Douglas County Federation, that's the name of the union. They're warning a high percentage of staff might leave because of the board's decision to fire Superintendent Wise. He says there's already a nationwide and statewide shortage of educators, and it won't bode well for Douglas County schools. A lawsuit was also filed against the 4 new members of the school board on Friday, accusing them of violating open meeting laws with the discussion leading up to Wise's termination. During Friday's board meeting, members said they had never met privately as a group. Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman says he will introduce a new homeless camping ban tonight. The proposal would require the city manager to come up with a designated area or areas for a shelter. It would also lessen the notice that's required from the city before a cleanup could occur from 7 days to 3. Kaufman first introduced a camping ban last summer, but it failed after the city council ended in a tie twice. There are a handful of sites across the Front Range where homeless youth can get shelter, and soon there will be a new one. As Denver 7's Veronica Acosta reports, a new site will give teenagers more than just a safe place to stay.
God, I wish it was tomorrow. It's not soon enough.
It's just an empty lot now, but that isn't the plan for this spot on Wawata Way in Rhino for much longer.
We will be building 56 units of permanent supportive housing or non-time limited supportive housing for young people coming off of our streets.
56 units where Denver youth between the ages of 18 and 24 will be able to have a roof over their head, a key to a place to sleep, counselors to help them navigate through life, resources to get stable work.
We're just putting a small dent in it, but we really want to do more and more of this, so we can work towards solving this problem.
Chris Nelson is the CEO of Together, an organization focusing on getting youth off Colorado's streets. It's been able to do this for dozens of teens in Boulder here. The organization's first housing project.
We're learning here in Boulder with this 40-unit project, we've seen a little more than half move on to independent housing in 2 years. So it works, and so we're going to keep replicating it.
Isis Marshall is a testament to that.
I've lived here a year and a few months. Being here has been like a blessing.
The 20-year-old became homeless after a grandparent kicked her out in Minnesota. With the help of friends, she found herself here, praising this Boulder housing project for giving her options once again.
I think a lot of things would have been a lot different, for sure.
Options Nelson hopes to give others by building in this lot, which will eventually look something like this.
I don't think it's difficult for any of us to put ourselves in the shoes of a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old and say, look, you're trying to figure out how to survive every day. How would you feel about having a stable place to live with supports and peers around you and access to resources and amenities that you otherwise didn't have access to? So they're feeling impatient about it, excited, as much as we are. It's everything. It's everything.
In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Chris Nelson, the CEO of Together, says the plan is to break ground on the new housing project sometime this year. Police in Aurora are looking for this man, who they say is responsible for a deadly church shooting. Jose de Jesus Montoya Villa is accused of killing a woman and injuring 2 pastors Friday night. The shooting happened at the Iglesia Faro de Luz. Police say the suspect knew one of the victims but wouldn't go into more detail. The Table Mesa King Superstore in Boulder is set to reopen this week. The store has been closed since 10 people were killed in a shooting there last March. There will be a ceremony honoring the victims Wednesday morning before the store reopens to customers. People in a Greenwood Village neighborhood are taking their concerns to City Council tonight after learning there's a gun store operating out of a nearby home. One neighbor says more than 300 people signed a petition to close Tomcat Tactical Firearms. The store is connected to the owner's home. There are no visible signs indicating it is a gun store. The owner says the business is operating legally and has been for the last 5 years.
A lot of them were worried I was going to be bringing lots of traffic into the neighborhood. To be honest, any house for sale here brings way more traffic than I do. I may see 1 customer a week at most.
Now, we reached out to council members requesting comment on this issue, but have not received a response yet. Denver-based Frontier Airlines is taking over Spirit Airlines in a deal worth more than $6 billion. In a letter to customers sent out this morning, Frontier says until the closing date later this year, both airlines will operate separately. Customers won't notice a difference. It will form the nation's 5th largest airline. Frontier said the merger is expected to create $1 billion in annual customer savings. Happening now in Washington, President Joe Biden is expected to meet with Germany's chancellor at the White House. One topic of discussion will be the ongoing tensions between Russia and Ukraine. World leaders are still trying to pursue a diplomatic solution there, but as Elizabeth Schulze reports, the U.S. is warning a Russian invasion could happen any day.
As Russia escalates its military presence near Ukraine, a high-level diplomatic effort is underway. French President Emmanuel Macron flying to Moscow today to hold a face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in an effort to avert war with Ukraine. And President Biden is set to host German Chancellor Olaf Scholz at the White House, amid criticism Germany must speak out more forcefully against Putin's threats. The U.S. is now warning there's a very distinct possibility Putin will order an attack on Ukraine.
It could take a number of different forms. It could happen as soon as tomorrow, or it could take some weeks yet. He has put himself in a position with military deployments to be able to act aggressively against Ukraine at any time now.
The Kremlin continues to deny it will attack. But ABC News has learned that Russia now has in place 70% of the forces needed for a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Satellite images show Russian troops accumulating in neighboring Belarus. And Russia has released new video of military drills alongside Belarusian troops, including tanks and heavy mobile missile launchers. Russia's buildup of firepower is prompting U.S. concerns that a full-out invasion could result in between 35,000 and 50,000 Ukrainian civilian casualties.
This is a military that's backed by a lot of firepower, a lot of air power, naval power. The Russian Navy is gathering in the Mediterranean.
A senior Biden administration official says that if Russia does invade Ukraine, the U.S. will take steps to block the Nord Stream 2 natural gas pipeline, which goes between Russia and Germany. Germany has hesitated to endorse such a move. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Well, also in Washington, the Biden administration is taking steps to address trash in space. Right now, most of the junk is being cleaned up by Japan, the European Space Agency, and private companies. Last month, the White House held meetings with experts about how to clean up space, and the Space Force launched a new program giving companies funding to clean it up.
Our vision in this partnership is to aggressively explore those capabilities with you today in the hope that we and others can purchase them as a service in the future.
And the Space Force is tracking more than 40,000 objects. Most of it is from the U.S. and Russia. Well, coming up, it's one thing to be a good volunteer. It's another to rally others together to help out with a good cause. Meet this week's Denver 7 Everyday Hero. Plus, the CDC is changing when certain people should get a 4th dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.